Hello, workaholic. This is Kim, and welcome back to my channel. It's a new day, new video, and new learning for everyone. If you are new to my channel, I talk about freelancing, virtual assistant, and work from home tips. So, if you are interested to learn and earn, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. In this video, we will discuss hourly rate and when we can use them. So it's completely up to you how you charge your clients, but usually per hour rates tend to be used when you're either starting out or you're not sure how long it's going to take you. So hourly rate is a great way to test how much time you will be spending doing different tasks before you start charging a fixed price. Secondly, hourly rates are used when you do one-off tasks for clients, which are different each month. So if your client isn't sure how much work they're going to be sending your way, or they know it's going to be different each month, then you can use a per hour rate and invoice them at the end of each month. And then finally, as I have mentioned in the previous video, hourly rates can be used when your client wants to pre-book a certain amount of time in your diary each month, which will be a monthly retainer. So this is when they buy a specific amount of hours per month in advance. So now we're going to have a quick look at the kind of monthly retainer that you could offer and how you would calculate the cost. So usually your monthly retainer will be calculated as the amount of hours that the client is buying times your hourly rate. And these are the most common monthly retainers that client will go for. We have 20 hours a month, which is 5 hours a week. 40 hours a month, which is 10 hours a week, 60 hours a month, which is 15 hours a week, and then 100 hours a month, which is 25 hours a week. So, just a few things to remember with the retainer. These hours expired at the end of the month and then not roll over because it will be complicated to track and it's harder for you to plan your months. And also, you also need to avoid putting all your eggs in one basket and not allocating all your hours to just two or one or two clients. Because imagine if one of your client cancels their contracts, so you lose a really big chunk of income. So you try to spread the hours between different clients and go for the smaller retainers. And you can also send reminders to your clients near the end of the month if there are any unused hours left. So here's the exciting part. What are the standard hourly rates that the virtual assistant usually charge? So here are a few examples for different countries. So if you're working with international clients, these are the rates of a virtual assistant will tend to have. So for example, I am in the Philippines right now, but all my clients are in the US, so I charge US and Philippine rates. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to calculate and how much you can charge for your specific situation. But first of all, in the UK, the standard rate is usually between 25 and 30 pounds per hour, or you could charge up to 40 pounds. And in the US, it's between 25 and 40 US dollar an hour. And in the Philippines, it's between 8 to $16 an hour. Well, you could say that that might quite a lot, but just remember that when you're self-employed, there are loads of business expenses and taxes that you're going to need to take into account. So when you're first starting out, I would recommend that you offer rates towards the lower end of the scale unless you have lots of expertise and experience. And then over time, you can gradually increase your rates as your experience grows. So here are some things to consider when calculating your hourly rate. First of all, taxes and business expenses. So depending on the country and state that you live in, as a general rule of thumb, I would recommend putting aside around 30% from your income each month before taxes. Then you need to factor any other business expenses, which we will go over in the later video. So, what is billable hours and non billable hours? Billable hours is the time that you spend doing client work, and non billable hour is the time that you spend working on your own admin or your own business. And then finally, you want to have some leftover at the end of the month for your own profit. And according to the Office of National Statistics, they say that a good profit is usually around 15%. So that's the kind of amount to aim for. So let's look at what kind of expenses you will be paying each month. And obviously, you're going to have your personal expenses like housing, food, bill, and so on. And then you've got your business expenses, so things like your tax, your work phone, your laptop, your computer, and more. And then what is billable hours again? It means that the time that you spend in your client work, whereas non-billable hour is the time that you spend on your own admin. And that include things like your social media marketing, your invoicing, responding to emails, that kind of thing. So when we calculate your hourly rate, we want to factor how many billable hours you'll need to work to make enough income. And then, first of all, you need to ask yourself how many total hours do you have available to work a week in your business? So, for example, you could say you have 30 hours available a week. Okay. And then you need to ask yourself again, how many non billable hours will it take me to do my own admin each week? So, for example, you have 10 available hours. And then you need to take the total amount of hours and subtract the non billable hours, which will leave your billable hours. So, in this case, it will be 30 hours. So minus 10 hours and you will have 20 billable hours. Let me simplify it for you. Your available hour each week is 30 hours, and then your that's a total. Okay, so you have your non-billable hours, which is the thing that you do for your own thing, your personal stuff, your marketing for yourself. So that's 10 hours. So 30 minus 10 is equals to 20. So that 20 hours is your billable hours. Okay, so here is a formula that you can use to calculate your hourly rate. So your hourly rate will be the monthly income you need to make divided by how many billable hours you have available. So for your monthly income that you need, you have to go back to your personal expenses and your business expenses including tax. You just have to add the total and you can get the amount that you need for your monthly income. Okay, and yeah, just follow this formula in order for you to have an idea of what will be your hourly rate in the future. And I think that would be all for this topic. If you have any questions or clarification, leave a comment on the comment section and I will answer that on my next video. And for the next topic, we will going to discuss on how to calculate your package rate. And if you have learned something from this video, please like and subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will be updated on my next video. Bye. Peace.